High in the Andes Mountains, above the clouds and above the tree line, stands a city of stone so precise that even earthquakes could not destroy it. No iron tools, no wheels, no written language as we understand it, and yet it survived for centuries. It was not built by accident, it was not built by primitives, and it was not built for us. Why was it constructed in such a remote place? Why was it abandoned less than a century later? And how did it remain hidden from the outside world for nearly 400 years? This is the story of Machu Picchu. In the early 15th century, the Andes were not unified. Power was fragmented among competing groups. Then came a turning point. A young noble named Pachacuti Inca Yupanqui rose during a moment of crisis. According to chroniclers, when the Chanca tribe attacked Cusco, the reigning Inca ruler hesitated. Pachacuti did not. He organized resistance, defeated the invaders, and reshaped the political order. From that moment, he was no longer just a prince. He became the architect of an empire. Under Pachacuti, the Inca state expanded dramatically, stretching over 2,500 miles along the spine of South America. The empire became known as Tawantinsuyu, the Four Quarters. It was divided into 4 administrative regions connected by more than 25,000 miles of roads. Suspension bridges made of woven fiber crossed deep canyons. State storehouses were filled with maize, potatoes, and dried meat to sustain armies and workers. Pachacuti understood something essential about power. It must be visible. It must feel eternal. Empires require symbols. Around 1450, at the height of his authority, Pachacuti ordered the construction of a royal estate high in the Andes. Not a defensive fortress, not a crowded capital, but a sacred retreat, a political and spiritual statement carved into living rock. In Inca cosmology, mountains were sacred beings known as apus, protectors and gods. To build between powerful peaks was to align political authority with divine order. Machu Picchu sits between Machu Picchu Mountain and Huayna Picchu, positioned with deliberate astronomical alignment. During the June solstice, sunlight enters the Temple of the Sun at a precise angle. The carved stone known as Intihuatana functions as a ritual solar marker. Architecture here was not decorative, it was cosmic. But how was such a project possible without money? The Inca had no currency in the modern sense. No coins circulated in markets. Instead, the empire operated on a labor taxation system called mita. Citizens paid the state in work. Farmers, artisans, and laborers rotated through government projects, roads, terraces, temples, storehouses, and royal estates like Machu Picchu. In return, the state provided food, clothing, and security. Wealth was measured not in gold, but in organized manpower. Constructing Machu Picchu likely required thousands of workers over several decades. While exact figures remain unknown, modern economists estimate that if a project of similar scale were built today in such terrain, factoring in logistics, engineering, labor, and materials, the cost would reach into the billions of dollars. But the Inca economy was not measured in dollars or in European silver coins like the Spanish real or peso that would later dominate the Andes under colonial rule. It was measured in control, coordination, and loyalty. Now imagine the physical challenge. Granite blocks weighing up to 50 tons were quarried locally and shaped using harder stones as hammer tools. No iron chisels, no wheeled carts. Stones were dragged, levered, and carefully positioned. The technique known as ashlar masonry allowed blocks to be fitted together so precisely that even a thin blade cannot pass between them. No mortar was required. Why such precision? Because Peru sits in one of the most earthquake-prone regions on Earth. The walls of Machu Picchu lean slightly inward. The stones are often trapezoidal. During seismic activity, blocks shift, and then settle back into place. It is dynamic stability. Modern structural engineers still study these methods. The agricultural terraces were not merely decorative. They were engineered with layers of stone, gravel, sand, and topsoil to ensure drainage during heavy mountain rains. Without this system, the slopes would collapse. A natural spring was channeled into a gravity-fed fountain system that still flows today. 5 centuries of rain, 5 centuries of seismic tremors, and the water still moves. The city's layout reinforces hierarchy. Elite compounds were constructed with perfectly cut stones. Residential areas for retainers used more irregular masonry. Urban planning communicated social order. Power was embedded in architecture. Some historians argue that Machu Picchu functioned primarily as a royal estate for Pachacuti and his lineage. Others suggest ceremonial and astronomical purposes tied to ancestor worship. The Inca believed rulers became semi-divine after death. Royal mummies were preserved, consulted, and politically significant. Was Machu Picchu intended as a sacred estate where the emperor's presence continued beyond his lifetime? Then came disruption. In the 1530s, the Spanish arrived in the Andes, but disease had arrived first. Smallpox spread rapidly, killing leaders and destabilizing succession. A civil war erupted between rival claimants to the throne, Atahualpa and Huáscar. When Francisco Pizarro captured Atahualpa in 1532, the imperial structure fractured. Political collapse does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like silence. Supply networks weaken, administrators disappear, workers stop rotating through state projects, royal estates lose their function. Machu Picchu may not have been destroyed because it was no longer strategically necessary. It was simply abandoned. Roofs decayed, vegetation covered the terraces, the jungle reclaimed stone. Spanish colonial authorities focused their economic efforts elsewhere, particularly on silver extraction in places like Potosi, integrating the Andes into a global economy driven by European currencies. The Inca labor system was transformed into colonial exploitation, but Machu Picchu remained outside this new order, hidden, remote, forgotten by empire. Local Quechua farmers knew of the ruins, but the wider world did not. In 1911, American explorer Hiram Bingham documented the site and brought it to international attention. Photographs of a lost city in the clouds stunned audiences in the United States and Europe. Yet what had truly been lost was not the city itself, but the imperial context that created it. Today, Machu Picchu is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the most visited archaeological locations on Earth. Tourism contributes significantly to Peru's modern economy, now measured in souls. The irony is profound. A city built without money has become a global economic engine. But perhaps the most important realization is this: Machu Picchu was not magic. It was organization. It was belief. It was political vision. It was engineering intelligence without steel. Empires fall. Gold is melted and recast. Currencies change. But stone, placed with intention, can endure. High above the Urubamba River, wrapped in mist, Machu Picchu still stands. Not as a myth, not as a fantasy, but as evidence of what human coordination and shared belief can accomplish. The question is no longer how they built it. The real question is how quickly knowledge, systems, and power can disappear when the structure that supports them collapses.